Okay, in this video, we're going to talk about the triggers and how we can desensitize a dog for the triggers of leaving. Dogs have separation anxiety. I just got to explain this off camera, but I'm going to do a quick synopsis of it. Dogs see different triggers. There we go. We missed it. When he finds it, you say the word. Let's start that one again. Ryker, come here, buddy. Come here. Sit. All right, ready? Sit. In the other video, we talked about helping the dog feel comfortable at the kennel, which is an important part of separation anxiety if we have a dog that is going to be destructive, and he's chewing up shoes and some other things we don't want him to chew up. But the process of separation anxiety is usually the dog gets itself more and more worked up. Now, they recognize steps that we take before we leave. We call these triggers. So in this case, one of his triggers is when his guardian goes in the bathroom. Now that's going to be a little bit more convoluted, so we're going to skip ahead and go to the grabbing of the keys, which are on the counter behind me. Now, for when a dog starts seeing us get ready, we go through a ritual. First we get up, we go to the bathroom, we take off our clothes, we jump in the shower, we get done. As a male, I would shave. Girls, put on put on makeup and do their hair and all the rest of that stuff. So he's watching us do all these individual things, and these things are all associated with the human leaving. So now I'm starting to get worked up. Oh, she's putting up. She just got in the shower. And when she gets in the shower, next thing comes makeup. Oh yeah, she's putting on makeup. Now she's doing her hair. She's putting her shoes on in that special spot. She grabbed her keys, and the dog is getting itself more and more keyed up. By the time we leave, they've worked themselves up into a frenzy. So what we want to do is help them practice us leaving and what we call desensitizing the dog throughout the various parts of it. So what I'm going to do, and I'm going to step to the side, and the guardian is going to walk over here to pick up the keys. Now, keys are a particularly strong trigger for most dogs because they have a very specific sound or jingle or tone that they make when you pick them up. So what I'm going to have the guardian do is walk over towards them, and are those your sandals or her sandals? Hers. Okay. So hopefully, we're doing this alive. I don't do you see these people do this on TV and they practice and set it up, and then the dog knows what to do, and then they film it. I don't know what's going to happen, so this might not be the best footage, but we'll see how it goes. Usually what we do is when we go over, as soon as we pick up the keys, you're going to see the dog start to breathe heavy or move around or some indication that they're starting to get worked up. So all we're going to do is pick up the keys and then put the keys back down. And then put your hand there and pick up the keys, put them back. Eventually we might pick it up and jingle a little bit. We might pick them up and take a step or two away. Right now in this stage, all I want to do is have the dog hear the sound of the keys without it being associated with the guardian leaving. When we do that enough for any one of these particular triggers, so what we're looking for is a word we call extinction. We're looking to extinguish the dog's anxious behavior related to that particular trigger. So when you have a dog that has separation anxiety, you want to make a list of all the things that you do that before you leave on a regular basis. And also, a good little tip that you can do is you can have somebody film your dog as you're going through your ritual of getting ready to leave. So this way you can actually watch it later on, like, oh, he started breathing heavy there. I didn't even realize when I picked up my lighter, he starts getting excited. Or I turn the volume of sometimes we're not even aware of the things that we do when we're trying to do these things. But the dogs are very perceptive. They watch us all the time, and then when we start doing those things, especially in a specific order, they start getting themselves worked up. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of step to the side back here. The guardian's going to get up and walk over here. The camera woman is going to come and stand right here to kind of film this. Make sure you're seeing the dog and her. We don't need to show her face. I usually don't show people's faces, except for mine. I'm sorry, people at home. But the idea is we want to see his body language and how he reacts. So let me get up and move away. I'm going to have you go ahead now. And let her pass in front of you first. Just go ahead and go grab the keys. And you might be able to stay there depending on how, there we go. So make sure you've seen both of them. Just walk over, pick them up, put them back down. I'm going to have you walk over here towards, yeah, there we go. Go ahead and can you see the dog? Mm-hmm. Okay. Actually, why don't you walk around so we get a better angle of the dog? All right, see how he's kind of stiff, he's waiting. So just walk back over here real quick. All right, now walk back over there and pick up the keys. Turn around, put the keys back, grab the keys again, put them down, Now you see him tilting his head. That's when a dog does that, they're trying to figure out what's going on. Go ahead and grab him again. And get up and just start walking towards the door. All right, come back. And put them back where they were. And then walk over here. And walk, it's just kind of go right there. Okay, now I came back, and then go back and grab your keys again. Put it back. Just pick them up and put them down about 5 times in a row. But put your hand at your side afterwards. Okay. And go put it back up. There you go. Grab them again. Now, if you see in the body language, I'm going to continue doing that while I talk. See how his left back leg is behind him? Mm-hmm. It's kind of that's what I mentioned kind of with the kennel. There we go. Grab it again, and don't pet it when you're doing this. And go put it back down. And one more time. But you see his body is kind of looks like he's kind of paused in movement. That's kind of I'm not quite sure what's going on. That's a great sign. So he got bored with what you're doing and started moving away. Because now this doesn't mean she's leaving. Mm-hmm. So when we have a dog that has these problems, what we want to do is we want to recreate the situation as much as we can and help the dog practice each individual trigger by itself without the association of us leaving. If we can deprogram our dog for all of the triggers, then when we go through them, well, is this the drill or is this the real deal? And because we drill it so often, the dog just is like relaxed and comfortable about it. Then we actually start doing these things when we're leaving, the dog doesn't get itself all keyed up and worked up, and by the time we walk out the door, they're in a frenzy. Now we combine this with some of the other things we've gone over in the session. I went through a lot of dog training tips, such as incorporating rules, boundaries, structure, and limits to help the dog start to identify more as a follower. The more a dog identifies as a follower, the less stress we put on their plate. And then usually those dogs can kind of stop worrying about everything. Now, something else we went over, I showed the guardian how to teach the dog how to stay. She'd been practicing that, but she was also practicing it outside, which is a much more difficult scenario or environment to do it in. I like he just went to the ring. Dog bed word. And went to go check out his kennel as well. So just by using a little positive association, we're already starting to develop a positive association for him with those particular locations. So basically, when the rules and structure can help the dog start to feel a little bit better about themselves, teaching the dog to stay is a great exercise. Now the guardian was practicing it outside, which is too difficult a scenario to do it. What we're going to do is we're going to practice it inside the living room, in the bedroom, in the bathroom, in the kitchen, in the hallway, all over the place. Dogs don't generalize well, so we need to practice things at a lot of different locations. Once we've done that enough, then we can go the 3 Ds for teaching a dog to stay. First for duration, up to 5 minutes, with the dog literally right in front of you. Then we start doing distance. We start gradually moving away from progressively further and further periods, distances. Then eventually out of the dog's sight, but we're still in the house. And then eventually we do it with distractions. When we do it, that would be doing it outside, or doing it when a guest is here, or when somebody's picking up and jingling the keys, or some of the triggers that might be associated with that. Once the dog has that stay down where it stays until it is given the release word, which should never be the word no, or excuse me, okay. Never use that word. Then we can start practicing it in real world application. When we're going to get up and go get a drink of water, we tell the dog to sit and stay. We go in the kitchen, make ourselves a drink of water, come back, and then give the dog the break or release command. We're going to get up and go to the bathroom. Put the dog in a stay. When we get up, go to the bathroom. A strong, more difficult one would be to put the dog in a stay and then go to answer the door when we have a guest over. Now we're getting close to leaving the door, and that's a hard thing for the dog to resist, and from panicking because he thinks that the guardian's going to leave him alone. But by practicing it enough, then when I get put in a sit-stay, doesn't necessarily mean the human is leaving. And then we give the dog the ability, just like we talked about in the kennel exercise, to help the dog practice being alone. Most people never help the dog practice being alone. They're with them 24/7. I have 100% contact with the human and then 0 contact with the human. That's such a huge gulf between. It's hard for dogs to process that. So a great thing that you can do is have the dog in here, and after you don't have to necessarily put in a stay. We want to use the stay to build that confidence level up, and so it can hang out without seeing you. But eventually it'd be nice to have the dog stay in here. When you go in the bedroom and maybe you lie in your bed and you read an article on your bed while the dog's in here, so it has time alone. It practices being alone, but without actually being alone, because the human is in the next room. So the more structure and rules and boundaries that you can incorporate, the more the dog feels confident in the leadership of the human. That takes away a lot of the anxiety and stress. Also things, and I'm kind of getting at the roadmap to success, I guess I'll save it for that. So basically, this is a really long-winded version of how we can how we can deprogram our dog for any of the triggers. Remember, make a list of whatever they are. If you have to film your dog, have your sister or somebody over filming the dog as you get ready for work. And then each time, and maybe just make a little note, just picked up the lipstick, just put on her shoes, just did this, just did that. So the person who's narrating you can remember what you were doing. You might not remember what you were doing when the person was filming it. And then systematically practice those individual triggers over and over again until the dog no longer responds. And he showed a great indicator. He just walked away. I don't associate that with the leaving anymore. You want to extinguish all of these behaviors, all these triggers, so now when you go through that process, he doesn't get himself worked up. A calm dog is a dog that's less likely to have separation anxiety.